Hi there, and welcome to another Carnivore Coach to Coach session. Just waiting for Raymond to appear. We just did a big meeting with the Steak and Butter gal, and I am sharing a screen for people just to recap where we were last week, just as we await Raymond's appearance, which shouldn't be long. So yeah, last Sunday we wrapped up, and I lost 12.7 pounds so far, and I can't wait to go through this with Raymond. So we're just going to add him to the stream now. And I think Signal was very slow at sending the link to you. But anyway, good to see you, Raymond.
I just got it. How are you doing, Stephen?
I'm doing well. So I just started with a very brief recap of where we were last Sunday, actually, that I'd lost 12.7 pounds. And I was going into a week where I think I asked you to move one of the skip days. So I'm just going to crack straight onto the food. Also, we had a little bit of a Wi-Fi issue and my devices weren't taking photos. So I haven't got photos of food for every single day. So I just have got some feedback basically for you. So Tuesday into this Chisel journey, I was really surprised to feel that I was full of energy and I wasn't sleeping. That wasn't in a bad way at all. I just felt incredibly energized, which is something we talk about happening to a lot of people. They suddenly get this big burst of energy, and very often they're the people that originally said, oh, I'm never going to get the energy, I feel so lethargic, I'm struggling, I'm feeling tired after I've eaten. So I just thought I'd better make a note of my whiz-bang amount of energy. I also had some gas, which is really unusual. And it felt like I needed the toilet, but there was nothing doing. It wasn't unpleasant. It's just a thing. So after the skip day, I'd lost 0.4 pounds, which is pretty consistent with non-skip days. So I just want people to know that, because most of the time I've been eating. You can't say it's because there's no calories going in or it's a calorie deficit or whatever, because I'm losing weight, body fat constantly. Whether I have a skip day or not. I don't think I've had that many, maybe 3 skip days, but the rest of the time I've been eating stacks of food. Yes, somebody mentioned that we need to call this Carnivore Coach to Coach rather than just Coach to Coach. I thought that was a great idea. Raymond certainly did, so we did that. So that's why that's changed slightly, in case you were looking. I had some salmon patties, which I'd made. I ground up some pork rinds, added some cheese, some cream, some eggs, but I didn't take a photo. Like I say, the devices are all playing up. But anyway, it came back to life a little bit in the middle of the week. So I had some fillet steak and cheese. And then Wednesday, I had a skip day. And I did feel a little bit out of sorts. Not to do with Chisel, but I think I picked up a bug, and I haven't had a bug. I haven't been ill in 7 years. I just don't think it's Chisel that's made me feel a bit poorly. I just think it's bad luck. And this is another thing that happens with people that are new to carnivore. Every little thing they think, well, is this carnivore? So, you know, good things, we always say, yeah, of course it's carnivore if it's good. And if it's bad, we say, no, it isn't carnivore. Of course it isn't. Realistically, you know, I just got a bug, and 7 years of not being ill, here I am, I've got one. Anyway, so I said to you, what should I do with a skip day when I'm feeling like I've got a bit of a bug? And you told me to just go with appetite and not worry. But I didn't have any food, actually. I didn't really feel hungry. I just wanted a coffee with cream, so I did that. And I was back out working in the afternoon, to be honest. So that was fine. So the bug sort of shifted away quite quickly. Oh yes, and I asked about Sunday today being Father's Day. Is it possible to move the 48-hour skip day to a different day? And you thought that was fine. I thought maybe we would do it on the day before, but you suggested doing it on the day after. So then I know we're not doing, you know, we're not talking about the scale, which is quite good. I don't really want to talk about the scale, but other people do. So Thursday, I'd lost 13.8 pounds, and I wanted people to see, you know, the weight had gone down, a little bit up, down, then it goes up a little bit, goes down, goes up, then it staggers, then it stalls, then it goes up. And that's one of the biggest things I wanted to show people, is just if you do the scale every day, it can demotivate, it can motivate, it can frustrate, and it can confuse as well. So a lot of these big jumps are when I'm eating. These big jump down is when I'm eating, and sometimes when I'm skipping or having less than I had at the beginning, for instance, it doesn't really reflect that. And then huge leap down in the last couple of days. 15.7 pounds lost there, and you can see that's quite steep. So that was interesting. And the meals were, well, my first meal was actually I had lobster. I had oysters like this, which was grilled with some cheese. That was the first part of the meal. I also had one oyster, which was just raw, as you open it. And then later on, I had salmon. And I squirted a bit of lemon on. I know the lemon isn't carnivore, but I just fancied a little bit of lemon. So there you go. And then yesterday, I had a breakfast out. I want to talk about this because it was out and about, and I normally am quite good. There's 4 eggs there. There's 3 bacon, actually cheese and sausage. But I fell for the blood pudding, or black pudding as we call it in England, and that just had too many cereals in it. So even the best of us, when we're being really strict, can think, oh, that would probably be all right if I have a little taste of that. And I did literally have one bite and regretted it.
Wait, Stephen?
Yeah?
What do you mean it has syrup? I thought it was just blood.
No, it has a little bit of cereal in it.
What? Oh, I had no idea. Okay.
Oh, there you go. So yeah, I absolutely felt that when I was eating it. It was like, wow, this is not good. And then I had 6:30 rump and fillet. Tomorrow was due to be a skip, but you've allowed me to move it to Monday, so I did eat today, but I haven't got photos of that. And the reason I haven't got photos of that is because it was a social occasion, so I didn't want to narrate and take photos and be that sort of person. But it was a good week. Very interested in sort of the mood. Having that bug, I don't think was anything to do with it, with what we're doing. Can't rule it out, but I don't think it was. And my energy was really good. It's been incredibly hot here. Hot, UK hot, not you Americans, which like, yeah, buddy, but we have it at 150. But it was hot for us. So I didn't sleep as well as I normally sleep, but that was just down to the heat. So it's been an interesting week, quite a challenge because of the heat, because of the bug, because of the skip, because of the Father's Day. But all in all, loving it, finding it quite easy. And this is the thing I wanted to tell you, and I didn't even tell you in the signal because I just wanted to tell you. In the middle of the week, I realized that I definitely have got to absolute food freedom. Absolute. It is such a big change, and I've been talking to clients about this, and people who are watching the live stream have asked me, should I do Chisel? And I've been obviously waxing lyrical about it, as you know, but this week it really just crystallized just how good it is, because I just realized I don't care that much about food. I just don't care. I care about the quality and the supply and what I'm eating, those sort of things, but it's not paramount in my mind at all. And it used to be definitely at the forefront of my thinking. And today was brilliant. I deliberately loaded my plate with stuff I used to love, which was carnivore-ish, like pork pies and Scotch eggs and things that are not whole meat, not like a steak or something. And there was all this other stuff, for the father and his, Jane's father and his wife and all this. And I had zero interest. But I also had zero interest in like the pork pies and the things that are sort of carnivore. Just a complete, I can't get over it, Raymond, complete change. So I think that's 8 weeks to get to food freedom. And I honestly was a foodie, guys. I really was. I promise you, I really, really loved food and all the terrible foods, pizzas and McDonald's and Krispy Kreme, and I'd be in Starbucks and the cappuccino guy and all that sort of stuff. That was in my 40s. And well, my late 40s really. And I think, before that I was all health food. I was all skim milk and freshly squeezed orange juice and bagels with salmon and cream cheese and all this sort of stuff. No, I don't need any of that. I don't need any of those sort of things. I don't need any of it for entertainment. um I'd rather have a ribeye or a fillet steak, or like I say, the oysters were really nice and the salmon, all the good whole foods that are just so satisfying. And I just can't believe that I think I've definitely got to the food freedom.
Yeah, that part is amazing, and I actually had to spend a little time mourning for it myself when that actually happened, because it's just, I mean, it's strange how it is. I'm enjoying eating, but it's like after I'm done, it's like no interest whatsoever. It's just like, and even when the food comes, smells good, everything, but I'm just like, you know, I just need to eat it. That's all I know, right? And then I start eating it, tastes good. But once I'm done, I'm done. And even before them, there's no, real salivating or anything like that for me. And, so in a way I had to kind of mourn that, because it's like the negative part, it kind of, it's like, well, it's not as enjoyable as it used to be, if that makes any sense. But to me, there's the other side of it. It's so enjoyable to be so healthy and not having to be tied to, my dinner and meals. I can at any time, whenever something happens and we don't have to eat, I'm good. It's no big deal. It's like, I'll skip meals all the time. And that is true food freedom. Beforehand, in my prior life, I mean, just skipping out lunch, or if I was 1 hour late for lunch, I was almost ready to pass out. So what a difference, it's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It is an awesome feeling. And I think I know what you're saying about, it sounds like your life is not as good and fun and food is not as amazing. I think it is at the time of eating. That's the difference. And I think what you say is right. It turns up, you eat it, you enjoy it. I think definitely enjoy every single bite, love it, but it's not the be all and end all. And I used to think when I was out years ago, when people were talking around the table eating, they'd put their knife and fork to a side and they'd talk. I couldn't do that because I just wanted to eat food. I just wanted to eat, yeah. And it was like, how can they be so relaxed about food? Now that doesn't mean that's the end goal for everyone that does carnivore, but for me it was a big difference. And today to be able to think, yeah, obviously I'm being aware because I knew I got the live stream. I'm thinking, wow, I don't care whether we're eating or not. I just like the social side of it, which is again something you mentioned last week when I was avoiding eating with Jane because I didn't want that temptation, or I think it was on a skip. I think it was a skip day, and you said no, take part in the chat and the socialness of doing it. That's been amazing. That has been absolutely a revelation to me, that I can sit while everyone else is having food, not think about the food, and secondly, just to enjoy it and to not feel like I'm restricting myself in any way. It is just food freedom beyond belief. And I did say to Jane afterwards, I can't believe the amount of food that was on my plate that I used to think was fabulous, and I just didn't really fancy it. It just wasn't doing it for me. It's not carnivore. Every little bite I had was just like, yeah, I'd rather be having a big steak now. Because of the style of the meal, that would have been very odd. But I think now I would have, in hindsight, I would have just said to everybody, "Look, I don't fancy any of this. I'm gonna have a steak," and be a little bit more confident about what I'm doing in that situation. So huge. It's just a huge difference. And I think just going back onto the weight side of things, I would definitely say the volume of food I've been eating has not been a deficit. I can't emphasize that enough. you can eat plenty of food and change your body composition as long as you're eating the right food. That's definitely the case. What I'd like to know is, and this shows about my difference, is I don't know what next week. I don't know what next week is. I don't know what my schedule is. If you say it's skip day, it's 2 days skip. I mean, it really is irrelevant. I will just do what the plan says I should do. So what's coming up for me?
All right. So this one is the big test, right? And how well you've done. So the next that's coming up is you did finish the 48, right? You said that's today where you're skipping?
No, the 48 was going to be today, but I'm doing
Oh,
that tomorrow.
okay. You're doing that
Doing that
tomorrow.
tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. After you've done that with tomorrow, you have to do the 3-2 mads. You already know that. And then you're going the whole week of 10 days worth of alternate day fasting. So you'll be skipping, eating, skipping, eating, skipping, eating, and you're going to do 10 days of that total. So that's 5 rolls of ADF. That's the ultimate test. Now, just to warn you about that one. So now that you've gotten to that level of food freedom that you're talking about, this one is why we train so hard on priming. When you start doing these ADF rolls, what you're going to tend to find out is your meals are going to get smaller. I know that sounds strange. You wouldn't think, but you're gonna like try to eat as much as possible, and you're noticing you're not eating as much. So then your brain's gonna start freaking out for some unknown reason because you're like, I'm under eating. How am I going to make my next fast? Bet you'll know quickly if you try this to push yourself to try to eat as much as possible. It actually makes the fasting tomorrow harder. So you actually are at the point where you can listen to your body and trust it that it's full. So you don't push it too much, because if you do, then it may sabotage the fast for the next day. And this usually happens right around the third roll. That's where you start noticing the meals start diminishing a little bit. And like I said, you start worrying about that. A trick on that you can do is during the 2 mad windows that you have, you can sneak in some within 30 minutes or so, you can have like 2 different mini meals. So you're full really quick in the first 10 minutes, and then you wait 30 minutes, and then you eat some more. That kind of thing. So you could literally have like 4 meals if you wanted to. So if that worried you that much, you could do that. And that makes it a lot easier.
Yeah, I like that expression there, mini meals.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that the baddie in The Spy Who Loved Me? Oh, no, hang on.
Yes. Yeah.
But none of that did scare me. None of it at all.
Right.
Because
it's actually exciting.
It is really interesting. And it's very nice to be doing something that the coaching clients are doing as well, because I can relate to their experience. And I think I would say virtually everyone I speak to doesn't find it. I know you'll use this expression last week. They're not finding it easy, but they're finding it so simple, and then they love it. They just love the way it's designed. So just to get it clear, so today would have been the 48 hour skip. So that's happening tomorrow, but then I will just go straight back onto the plan as is, so catch up and be on the right day. So I know I've messed it up a little bit, but I was glad I did that because of the experience of the social situation, which is something that comes up all the time. How do you cope with social situations? And if you're new to carnivore, you're going to think that you're going to struggle. You're certainly going to be around things that are going to trigger you and things that you used to crave. And I think when you start, that is definitely a real phenomena that you have to overcome, so you don't dive in and eat stuff that you then regret. But I think once you've done this, so I'm 8 weeks in, there's just no worry. There is no worry. And I know I could be setting myself up for the biggest failure ever. And I guarantee, I'll be honest, if it messes up and I can't do it, I would say, because there's no point in doing this if you're trying to fake it. And I think you'd know anyway, because I'm not a very good liar. So I think everything you said just made me think, well, that's buzzed me. That's a challenge. I can't wait to see the difference in my body composition. I can't wait for the difference in satiety signaling as well, which is definitely different, because I've constantly gone along in the last 3 years thinking that I've done carnivore okay. I understand it. I've done it personally. I've coached a lot of people, and this has put that thought on its head, because it's taken me to places I can't believe. I just can't believe the food freedom. If one thing comes across from this, is it does give you the freedom to really eat how you want to eat in whatever situation, and the frequency as well. One of the things I was going to mention is I haven't trained this week because of the heat, and I think I could have trained, but I didn't want to. I just was listening to my body, and I was, like I say, because I wasn't recovering as well, because I wasn't sleeping due to the heat. So next week might be a bit interesting, because I am getting withdrawal symptoms from not training. I do enjoy it, even though it's only 10, 15 minutes a day. I do love it, and the X3 bar is fantastic. Yeah, but I haven't lost muscle mass. I still got the guns and all that sort of stuff. So, but I need to maintain them, so I'm going to train this week. So that might change it a little bit, but I really doubt it. I think I'm there, Raymond. I feel like the finished article, but I'm sure people have said that and then found even bigger differences of that once they've done rolling.
Yeah, you have a lot more to go actually. So this is just I would say this is the first part to really test out your system and how much it can take and how efficient you really are. One of the key things of this is it teaches you how to, like I said, the priming teaches you really what full is, and the fasting really teaches you what hunger is. So both are very valuable things. So now you're going through the real test. The rolling ADF will tell you if you've learned that correctly, do some fine tuning, then really your body starts working on more efficiency. It just starts getting so much more efficient, and it actually spends its energy much more, uh, not as, it's very thrifty on its energy spending. It makes sure for every little energy it just doesn't waste it like before, because it expects food at certain times and all that kind of stuff. So therefore it's just going to be, oh well, I know I'm going to get food at this time, so I'm just going to throw out a bunch of energy that I don't need to. But in this way it actually tightens it, and because it doesn't know when it's going to get its next food source, because you're always confusing. And I think that's the beauty, at least from what I've learned. That's the beauty, and that's what makes it makes your body much more efficient, which actually affects your looks also, just the efficiency of the body.
Yeah, and I mean that at 58 to become more efficient, I can't wait. I really can't wait for that to happen. So I think I don't know about you, but I feel like we've covered everything we need to cover tonight. I know it's a little bit shorter, but what do you feel? Do you feel there's anything else you want to cover, Raymond?
Yeah, I mean, I would like to cover a little bit about on your bug that you've gotten, that you haven't had one in 7 years or so. And I know you probably dismiss it to, hey, a lot of people are catching it, and no, it does have to do with the protocol. Remember, you are putting your body under stress that it's not been before. So absolutely lowers a little bit your, it's not just, I can't say it's actually lowering your immune system in any ways, but it's more like it's another challenge for your immunity. Because remember, when you're going through fasting, you're going through a detox path, so there's a lot of deeper healing that's happening. I'm actually not unhappy that you got this. I'm actually very content that you got this. This is a good thing. This is showing that you still have something there that can be taken care of, and is still throwing out the trash, which is a good thing. So that's why I tell a lot of carnivores who just started, who has a skin reaction and all that kind of stuff, look, this we look for these signs because that's showing that your body is reacting and it's doing what it needs to do. I'm big about trusting the body that it knows best and not really, us by putting in pills to mask it. So that's the other thing, if you told me that, oh, I'm just going to swallow a bunch of NyQuil because I'm sick, then I would be more concerned, right? Or take some Tylenol for the headache or whatever, then I would be concerned. But because you handled it so well and it went away very quickly, it just tells me that this is a good thing. It's something you have to go through.
Yeah, and I think it was a good reminder of what illness feels like, actually, because I mean, we have a lot of people that are, really damaged and healing and pretty sick, and still on lots of medications and stuff like that. And I just remember thinking, I felt confident, like you say, I felt confident it wouldn't be hanging around for a long time. Secondly, I was thinking to myself, wow, if I felt like this every day, I would definitely look at this diet because I don't want to feel sick. I don't feel great in any way, shape, or form. I certainly don't want to, go to the chemist and get tons of medications to make myself feel better. I've got to let my body fight it and stuff like that. So it was a good rude awakening in a way, because there is that danger as well of we feel bulletproof and people think, wow, you're carnivore, you can't get ill. And we get that from members. And, you want to be bulletproof and really good sort of example for people. But also you need to be realistic and say, well, however well you eat, you still got to be robust and you still got to, there's a possibility things can go wrong a little bit, but you've also got to be prepared for that and understand that this way of eating will help you get through those things and fix quicker. And this protocol has been stress, hasn't it? But because I've been enjoying it, I forget that it's a little bit of stress on the body because it's a nice challenge. It's a bit like people that enjoy ultra running. They actually enjoy it, even though it's incredible stress and terrible for the body. They love it. So they get through it and then they do it again the next week. So I feel you're probably right. I was a little bit dismissive of it. It was a thing that happened. I can't see it happening again personally over the next however many weeks. I think we've got like 5 weeks left of doing this. But it keeps me in good stead, keeps me confident that I'm doing the right thing. And like I say, it was really strange because it was on the back of feeling so energized. And maybe that was it. Maybe I was just a bit running on adrenaline when I shouldn't have been. Maybe I should have been a bit more chilled. But I was just so pleased with how I was feeling. And the mental clarity was just out of this world. All of the things, I don't get pains anymore. I don't get any aches or joints or anything. I'm never sore after training. So that the continuing sort of list of things that get better and better and improve, it's not endless, obviously, but it's beginning to feel a bit like, wow, I've forgotten that's how good that is. And you get complacent. And maybe it just shook me out of my complacency. Maybe that's the best thing for me. Yeah, I'm not bulletproof, and I can get a little bit of a bug. So I do need to not be too overconfident that I'm untouchable when it comes to illness.
Yeah, well, and the other saying that goes, it's like, hey, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So really and honestly, just getting that bug, I mean, you're just that much more strengthened. One of the things I wanted to note, I am glad you did not do the 48 when it was time to after the bug, and you did take your time and about to do that tomorrow. Because like I said, one of the big things when you're sick, do not do any part of the challenge. You eat when hungry. You eat, you don't stuff yourself. You just eat comfortably. Just allow a lot less stress on your body, because even priming is a stressor. And also fasting is a stressor, although great in the long run, but you don't want to push it when you're actually dealing with another stressor, which is being sick.
Yeah. I mean, that's brilliant. Actually, we do say that anyway, don't we? When people come into the meetings, oh, I'm feeling a bit sick. I've got a fast tomorrow, and it's like, well, hang on a minute, whoa. It's not set in stone. So that's the other good thing about this is it's not set in stone, and obviously you're approachable for questions and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been brilliant. So like I said, I mean, I'm only going to repeat all the things I've said, so I feel like I've said enough. But if you want to ask me any questions or add any more, that's fine. Other than that, we've done 30 minutes, which I can't believe. So
Yeah, yeah. No, so basically, did I do have another so kind of off question. So how is your because you mentioned the social part that you had recently, and you didn't get affected by your family's, food and all that kind of stuff. But I'm very curious. Has your wife noticed you changing on your aspect of food?
oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, she was the one that first sort of alerted me to it. I think when you're living it, sometimes you can't take that step back. And she actually said to me last week, "You don't talk about food anywhere near as much." Interestingly, today, I mean, she's more ketovore. She said about the social thing, didn't really enjoy that. I just wish I'd had two bits of fish, which is brilliantly carnivore. And I think that's one of the things that maybe socially has changed a bit. Is I think Jane is. I mean, she's always been aware of carnivore because she's around me, but I think maybe she's realizing that she gets more enjoyment out of the meats and the fish and the eggs and those sort of things than a little bit of salad, like the keto-y side of stuff. And I also think she is more relaxed about me being in a social situation and saying I'm just going to have a steak, because I think the difference she can see in me from this way of eating. And we're not doing the progress photos yet, but we are going to do some videos and stuff. I've done a couple in the past, and I've got one to do this weekend. We haven't released them yet, but one of the things she said was, I put a shirt on yesterday. So, you haven't been able to get into that shirt for a long time, so that was interesting because I wasn't sure. So my body composition is going back to be able to fit into that shirt. I mean, it feels it in the right way. The chest, the biceps look good in it. So there's all these little bits that are just, I don't know. They're just showing this way of eating is ticking all the right boxes. It doesn't feel antisocial. It feels like it's making me fitter. My body composition's changing. I'm less bothered about food. We're spending less money on food, actually, so we're able to moderate the purchasing, because a lot of times when we started out, we'd overbuy food, and then it's awful. I hate wasting food, but couldn't eat it all. There was no way of sort of saving some of it. Anyway, but now that's a lot easier. It's easier to budget and plan and not worry what other people think, because it just works. It's just so much better than how I was even like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And you're right about spending the food. There is nothing like the prices being a lot cheaper when you don't eat. So therefore, a lot of people keep wondering, hey, I must be super rich to afford ribeye all the time. Well, I mean, heck, I feel like I make up for it when I don't eat, and it's not, I don't need to eat every day. Unless I'm priming or I'm doing something stupid like trying to fatten up and trying to get to a certain weight, which is actually a lot harder than I thought it would have been. I thought for an easy gainer for me that I could have easily reached back to at least 210. I couldn't do it, Steven. It's a non-carnivore, and I was adding dairy and all that stuff. I just could not gain the weight. So now I'm back leaning down, but I love this part because I can decide wherever I want to be at any point in time, because with this protocol especially, it's like if I want to ramp down, I do the protocol. if I want to ramp up, I just prime the whole time and actually try to force myself beyond the part that tells me to stop. And I just keep going and keep going and keep hammering over and over and over again. But I notice even then I just can't put on what I need to. And, the good thing about carnivore though, none of it so far has been destructive, because I'm very curious. I'm like, if this diet is really so bad for you, like mainstream says, then if I eat too much of it, I should have some negative results. I have not seen that. If I eat too little, like as far as in the fasting of it, I should see negative results eventually. But I'm big about not under eating, so I always eat enough and I just skip. But a lot of people would say fasting while you're malnourished, you're eating too little. But I haven't seen any negatives in that either. So both ways is just fantastic, which kind of baffles my mind a little bit. And I know you like to think about these kind of things too, but I find carnivore just fascinating.
Yeah, you see, now I didn't enjoy the process of putting on weight for this, but I did deliberately do the things that people think aren't that bad. So I did do a square of chocolate, and I did do caffeinated coffee and yogurt. You see, so which when I speak to people, they say, "Well, that's not that bad," and that was the point I was trying to make. That even things that aren't that bad can put weight on you. And I've had quite a few people say, well, if you wanted to put on weight really quick, why didn't you use carbs? And I would have I said, well, I would have put weight on, but also been sick. That's the thing. I was trying to put on weight, a bulk, body fat in a good way, and I didn't ever feel sick, but I didn't enjoy it. I certainly didn't like looking at the video of the body like that. But yes, I agree with you. And it's very hard to overeat on this way of eating. It's very, very hard, and that's partly down to the satiety signals from the fat, obviously, because you've got the protein leverage. You're eating enough protein, so your body's not going to be saying, "I need more protein," and it becomes to the point where you just can't put any more in your mouth. Whereas, carbohydrates, you can overeat by about, well, I think the Minnesota prison experiment showed that you can overeat by about 10 times as much. So that's just an unhealthy way to gain the weight. And the only healthy way to lose that weight is to get rid of the carbohydrates. And really that simple. And I didn't know you were doing that experiment to get as heavy as you could and finding that you've plateaued. But it's self-limiting. The body is pretty smart, and I think it's going to say, yeah, I've got enough, thank you very much, I don't want you to eat anymore, and shut you down. Whereas with carbs, because it's sort of disproportionate and changing your blood sugars and your insulin signals out of whack and your leptin signals out of whack, you can overeat. And everybody that you talk to actually does know that. They do know. I say, oh yeah, what do you eat? Well, yeah, if I have pasta an hour later, I'm really starving, so I'll eat again. I'll have a sandwich, and they prove it, and I think everybody proves it. I used to have a sandwich before dinner when I was doing carbs, and it's just the way it is. Whereas now, it almost feels repulsive to do that sort of overeating. I just can't even imagine it, and yeah, I just think if I'd have done that, trying to put on weight at the beginning with just carnivore, I think I would have really struggled. I don't think I would have got to the full. In the UK, we do it like 14 stone, which is 196 pounds, I think. So yeah, we don't say 196 or 210 or whatever. We say 14 stone 3, and I can't believe I got to that. And I don't know if I could have done it on carnivore. I think I needed the bit of chocolate maybe in the caffeinated coffee. So yeah, interesting.
Yeah, I do think it helped, at least from my experience. But you're right. I yes, I don't. So I don't like actually telling people my experiments too much, because I'm scared of, because it's an experiment. It could go disastrously and it could be very bad for me, right? I don't want it to affect anybody else, so I don't go loudly portray my experiment. But I try to see what works, and then when I get a plan form, I set it out there. This is why I'm so comfortable about Chisel, because, you know, I've tested it over and over again, and then I feel like it's comfortable enough to share it, you know. So and of course now I'm working on the second part of it, which is even more amazing. When we get there, we'll have to talk a little bit after you finish this challenge, and I'd love to see your before and after, because there is another set that I have a client that I just talked to today, actually, and he finished his 48s, or got really close to finishing his 48. He had to end it a little early, but he wasn't losing at all. His body composition stayed the same, totally stubborn. And I'm like, wow, you're the first one I've had that's that stubborn. I'm like, you're not shifting at all. Of course, he never really took day one pictures, so I can't really tell. And he refused to take pictures, or he didn't refuse, just kept on forgetting. So then I got him into this new part. And within the first 23-1, he started noticing, like, yeah, my pants are down an inch. I'm like, sweet, finally something. So this next one, I'm going to actually say, okay, yes, this one is going to be for more fat loss. So for those who are very stubborn, because there are some people that just, you know, the body likes to have this homeostasis and doesn't want to budge from it. So there are those people. I'm fortunate that I'm kind of not that extreme, but also I'm an easy gainer. So, and fat loss is actually a little harder for me than normal people. But, you know, that makes my experimenting on myself a lot better for programs, right? Because I'm easy gainer. So I'm the best example and tester to have, right?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I didn't know that was happening. So that's brilliant to know. And I think that's the thing. See, that's my unknown. I don't know what's going to happen to me. Am I going to get to a point where, like you just said, the body is going to say, we're happy here, we're sticking. This is it. Whatever you do to us, we're going to keep this level of fat on you. One of the things that's particularly interesting for me is I have a problematic area, which is where I had a botched appendix. So I have a sort of blob of fat around the skull, which is really, you know, not great. Even when I did my bodybuilding show, I was, that was in my 20s, by the way. My appendix was taken out when I was about 8 and really did mess up. But anyway, and even though I had, you could see everything, you know, abs, and I was vascular and all that, I still had this troublesome bit of fat around my appendix. So that will be interesting to see whether this gets rid of that, or whether that is a part of healing this bodge job, basically. So yeah, I am going to wrap up now, Raymond, because I think you go in a minute to a coaching.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome. Thanks.
So yeah, brilliant, and I can't wait to do next week, actually, because I think I just can't wait to do it. I'm just really excited, but I'm also excited about this new thing you've talked about that you're looking into for people that are easy gainers, because if you've got two different protocols to try, it just gives everyone so much more hope, doesn't it? And if you're an easy gainer and you're working it out, and you've had somebody already that has had a stall try it and get results, it's just, I'm just loving what you're doing. All right, I'm just loving what you're doing. All the different experiments. You're right to keep them to yourself, but yeah, brilliant. Can't wait. I can't wait. Thank you. Thank you to everyone that's looked in. And, yeah, brilliant. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So yeah, that's great. You know, so thank you everybody that's put stuff in the chat, and those people that are still watching live on YouTube. Really appreciate it. We'll be back next Sunday for more. I think by next week I'll have a haircut as well, because way too long. And I hope everyone's enjoyed it. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments. It'd be nice if you could subscribe and like, as it really does help the channel. So yeah, thank you very much for tuning in. Really appreciate it.